here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
Just when you think it couldn't get any worse, we have that speech. The longest, most rambling, angry, disgruntled speech in the history of presidents. And that's saying something. We don't talk about that and so much more. All right, it is the Karel Show. I am Karel. So very glad you are joining me on this Wednesday, February 25th. February almost gone, almost out of here. Okay. So we have a lot to talk about after last night. I tried to watch. I did. I for you. I will do anything for you. And I tried to watch that speech for you so I could come today and, talk about it. I couldn't. After 5 minutes of standing ovations and narcissism on display, I couldn't do it. I switched to HBO Max and watched The Glitter Ball Murders, about two queens that murdered a drug dealer, third-party sexual partner and buried them in their basement in, Louisville. Very interesting, actually. These queens were demented. And they gay-shamed the queens in court, which is why one of them got convicted. They kink-shamed him, which they would not have done to a straight couple. But whatever. I watched that instead. That was more interesting to me, watching about these two gay guys, that one of them, and the guy that got away, one guy was convicted of murder. He didn't do it. His partner did it and blamed him and did it so well that they convicted the other guy. The other guy is the one that did the murder. I'm convinced. He got found not guilty, but he did it. But that was more interesting to me. That and an episode of The Pit, which is the best show on TV, just so good, was more interesting to me than that rambling. So the BBC has called it incoherent, rambling. They don't call them lies. They call them inventions, full of inventions. The European media is calling it for what it was, an unmitigated disaster. And I've seen enough excerpts already to know it was a disaster. Now, every day, I wake up to This Day in History from the History Channel. I get an email every day about this day in history. And today, and then I usually send out a meme to my friends to let them know I'm alive. Now, here is my meme today, and it's relevant. Today, in 1870, Hiram Rhodes Revels, a Republican from Natchez, Mississippi, became the first U.S. senator, the first U.S. senator of color. 1870. He was sworn in today. By the Republicans. He was a Republican. So in 1870, the Republicans swore in, from Natchez, Mississippi, Hiram Revels, the first black man to be a senator. Last night, Representative Al Green had to remind the Republican Party that black people aren't apes. 1870, the Republican Party swore in their first African-American senator. 2026, the Republican Party has to be reminded that black people are not apes. Isn't that something? I mean, truly. Isn't that something? So that right there speaks volumes about the party. And before we talk about the president, let's talk about the Republican Party and how it is time to end the Republican Party. They are not an American party. Last night, they showed how truly un-American they are. Now, what I'm about to say may offend a lot of you, and I'm sorry if it does. I often say, get out of the Catholic Church. If you don't want to be part of the largest child rape ring in the world, which is what it is, then get out. No one should be a part of the Catholic Church. It is time for that church to end. Now, I know after thousands of years it won't, but I'm telling you, the Pope is bad for the world. Their teachings are bad for the world. They're homophobic. They're anti-women. They're stuck in the Dark Ages. And for centuries, they have run the largest child rape ring in the world, still going on to this day. Priests are still molesting children in the Catholic Church to this day. You shouldn't be a member. Find a new religion. Religion is not, organized religion is not something God-given that you must do. It's not a commandment that you must be a Catholic. The same applies to a
If
republic.
you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
So as someone who was raised Catholic, in Catholic school, had a Catholic mother and father, was raised Catholic, I am telling you, the Catholic Church should not exist. It should be taxed out of existence. They are the largest child rape ring in the world, just like the Boy Scouts, and you should not be a member or participate. The same goes for the Republican Party. If you're a conservative, but you're an American conservative, if you are a true American, but you're just a conservative, you need a new party. Now, my illustration, which I make every day in ChatGPT, shows you that in 1870, the Republican Party was a very different party. They were actually more of the Democrats. The Republican Party had a major shift in policy in the 20th century. In the 19th century, they were the Liberal Party. They were against slavery. They were really the Liberal Party. And the Democrats were more conservative. In fact, the Republican Party was originally named the Democratic Republican Party as an homage to Thomas Jefferson. Okay? So when they started, they were the liberals, which is why they had the first black senator in 1870. Now, they are not even Americans. They do not believe in the Constitution, as illustrated last night. They do not believe in all Americans, as illustrated last night. They only believe in some Americans. Rich Americans. Americans that support their agenda. They do not believe in opposition. You know, there's a video going around this morning of Obama speaking directly to Republicans at his State of the Union, saying, look, you don't have to agree with me on everything, and I want to hear what you have to say. You know, this is not about one party getting their way and the other party not. This is about whatever is best for the American people. If you disagree with me, tell me why. Change my mind. Because everybody in this room is an American, and we all want the same thing for America. So I want to work with you, my Republican counterparts. I want to reach across the aisle. I want to show that I am not just a Democratic president. I am everyone's president, including yours. We're not going to agree on everything. Neither of us are going to get our way all the time, but that's politics. And they juxtapose that with Trump, pointing and saying, these people are mean. These people are horrible. How dare they not stand up for me? Because Democrats chose not to fawn over every one of his false, misleading, and exaggerating statements. Last night, according to the BBC, he did not say one statement that was true. Everyone was either exaggerated or plainly false. Every single statement. Do you know 5 members of the hockey team did not go? After what he said about players, they didn't go. Good for them. Hakeem Jeffries warned Democrats that if you can't not have an outburst, or if, whatever, then don't come. many Democratic Senate or Congress people did not go. I would not have gone. And the standing up of the Republicans, in spite of whatever Trump said, let's just get back to them. They're standing up and applauding. Look, after Germany fell in World War II, the Nazi Party didn't retain seats, didn't retain power. It was abolished. The Republican Party and MAGA should be abolished when Trump is gone. There needs to be a new conservative party in America. I have no problem if you are a conservative. None whatsoever. You know what, honey? That's what makes the world go round. Someone like me and Andrew. Andrew, I was the over-the-top, glitter-wearing, loud queen, and he was the much more subdued, much more soft-spoken, much less stereotypical gay who also ran the show. So that's how relationships work. I am not saying every member of Congress should be on the same side of every issue, but they should be on the same side of the American people, all the American people. The gay American people, the trans American people, the bi American people, the black American people, the brown American people. They should be on the side of the poor American people, the rich American people, the middle class American people, which they've wiped out. They should be on the side of Americans, not American corporations, not patting themselves on the back for things they did for corporate America. They should be on our side, every one of us. That includes immigrants who are here on green cards, immigrants who are here on valid visas. But they're not. The Republican Party is the least American, well, MAGA, and they're the same party now. MAGA has become the Republican Party, and they are the least American party that there is, period. So that's the first thing that last night showed us, that the Republicans must go. We must end the Republican Party. I am not saying end conservatism. I am not saying end an opposition party. But the Republican Party in its current incarnation must go. And there is much historical precedent for this. We're not, the Whig Party isn't here anymore, is it? Although it'd be fun if it were. RuPaul would be a member. So there's been other parties that have been in power and then gone. It is time for them to go. That's the first thing. The second thing, really, about the speech last night is why more people didn't walk out. Why did the Democrats sit there and let him berate and belittle them? Why didn't they just leave? You know what? If I'm not welcome at a party, I don't stay. I don't go to a party to prove a point. It would have been very powerful if half of the room got up and left. And they should have. By the way, the Supreme Court members did not stand up and applaud for everything he said. They didn't stand up once. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to be bipartisan. Melania got a standing ovation from the right, not the Democrats. And good for them. Shouldn't deserve one. But the fact that they didn't leave, well, I have a right to be there. Sure, you have a right to be there, but why be there? He's a fascist. All he's doing is bashing you. Why give him the cannon fodder? Get up and leave. It would have infuriated him. He would have popped a blood vessel if all of a sudden they all just got up and left the chamber. Now, there were people there wearing MAGA hats. Okay? But Al Green showed a placard that said, black people are not apes. He got escorted out and his sign got torn up because they can't stand to have the truth thrown back in their faces. And the fact is they're racist and they can't stand to have that thrown back in their face in public. They don't mind being racist in private. But in public, no, we're not racist. Yeah, you are. And you got a huge reminder of it last night. So, he made a lot of promises. He's not going to, I'm going to make sure that Congress can't trade stocks. And really? as he sits there and makes millions, he's going to tell others not to do it? That's pretty rich. He did not explain Iran or why he feels the need to go bomb it. He did not explain it at all. He did nothing but pat himself on the back, get mad at the other side, tout fake accomplishments, lie, and ramble on like a sick, old, infirm, bitter man that he is. I have seen enough of the speech to see that he was just rambling on like a old, bitter, demented, sick man. And he just went on and on and on for the longest State of the Union. And as Britain said, the most inconsequential. It was the longest and least consequential State of the Union that has ever happened. What a shit show. That was such a shit show. You know, just a shit show. And to what end? It was all just, and they just stood up to placate him. Those asshole Republicans don't really believe what they stood up and applauded him to placate him so they could get things out of him because they know how to manipulate him. And he is so stupid that he doesn't realize they're manipulating him, that they could give a shit about him. Kristi Noem would run over Donald Trump with a bus if she thought it would benefit her. They could care less about Donald Trump. They only care about what he can do for them. What power can he give them? What position can he give them? Don't you watch anything like Game of Thrones? They're just appeasing the king. Doesn't mean they like the king. Doesn't mean they want to, blow the king. It just means they want position, they want power, and they want adulation. And to get that, they have to appease him. So they stand up and applaud every time he fucking farts. And meanwhile, the rest of the world sees an old, sick, demented, bitter man who is a laughingstock this morning. We are a laughingstock in the world this morning after that speech. He didn't just embarrass himself. He embarrassed us all. And why the Democrats sat there as he's pointing at them, calling them idiots, calling them mean, just being so unpresidential. The president's supposed to unite the country. Obama tried. George W. Bush tried. Reagan tried. These are people I hated. I hated Reagan. I hated George W. Bush, but they at least tried in their speeches to unite the country. All he did was, if you're not with us, you're against us. That's unconstitutional. It's wrong. And no president should behave. Today, they should be invoking the 25th Amendment. After that speech last night, they should be invoking the 25th Amendment. He is obviously not competent to be the president. I mean, that's obvious to the world. Why we can't see, many of us can see it. And that's why the conservatives should leave the Republican Party and start their own. Because only a cult member would think that what happened last night was okay. Only a narcissistic fascist would think the things that he said and the lies. The BBC went through 27 of his statements and they either said exaggeration or lie. There wasn't one statement that he made. Not one. That was the actual truth. What an embarrassment. What a complete and total embarrassment. And if you support that, 1/3 of Republicans watching said it was a great speech. That tells me that 33% of Republicans are fucking insane. I'm not talking about lawmakers. I'm talking about CNN had people watching it. 1/3 said it was overwhelmingly positive. He blamed the Democrats for affordability when it's his tariffs that have cost each of us $1,700 in a year, or about $150 more a month. He didn't address his illegal tariffs. In fact, he didn't address any of his lawlessness. And why the Democrats didn't sit there when he was picking on them and start chanting, Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Why didn't they chant Epstein? Why did they let him forget that we know he's a sexual predator? Why did they not? There were Epstein victims there. Why didn't they all start chanting, release the files, release the files, unredact the files, unredact the files? You know, part of the problem with America is that Democrats are fucking pussies. You know, that's part of the problem. They should have chanted about Epstein. And they should have gotten up and left. You know, this notion, no, we will sit here, we will do our job. Why? He ain't acting presidential. Why are you acting like a congressperson?
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
I am typing a note to a deranged person in the chat room. He's all, oh, TDS is strong with you. Why don't you have a touch of class? Fuck you and your touch of class. The first lady's a hooker who got a visa after licking pussy in photographs. The president played a porn star and cheated on his wife while she was pregnant with a fucking porn star and said that he wants to grab women by the pussy. And you voted for the motherfucker and you're going to come at me and talk about class, you low-class piece of shit? I am so sick of MAGA talking about Trump derangement syndrome when they're the ones deranged. They are the only ones with a mental illness. We see it all very clearly. But you want to project on other people. You want to say, oh, you got Trump derangement syndrome. No, I have Trump fatigue syndrome. TFS. I am tired of him and people that defend him. He is a low-life piece of shit who last night embarrassed the nation, embarrassed himself, embarrassed the United States of America, embarrassed anyone watching with a brain, and should be removed based on the fact that he's incompetent. And if you don't see that, you're the one with the fucking mental problem. I don't understand how you could be so stupid. Yeah, I do. You're just stupid. You know, these people are idiots. 30% of the people that watched that and thought it was a great speech, they have something wrong with their brain. They need MRIs. They've got tumors or meningiomas or something that's blocking cognitive thought. Or perhaps they need to be educated. Perhaps they're just so stupid they never learned about critical thinking. You know? But whatever the case might be, talk class to me when you talk the word Donald Trump? My dog has more class than that man, and she licks her vagina. So please. What an embarrassment to the world he is. And you. You're an embarrassment if you support this man. You are an embarrassment to the country. You should go and hide. You are too stupid to be in public. I'm tired of pretending that what happened last night is okay. It's not. That was not okay. It was, and ICE shooting people with no repercussions, not okay. Everything that he's doing, not okay. There's just nothing going on with this administration that is okay. Nothing. And MAGA is so stupid because they don't realize that it's hurting them too. It's costing them more at the grocery store. They're still trying to blame Joe Biden. They've got Biden derangement syndrome, BDS. Yes, that's what they have. They have Biden derangement syndrome. Biden, not noted in the Epstein files, by the way. Biden, not in the Epstein files more than Christ is in the Bible. These people have Biden derangement syndrome. They think he's responsible for every illegal immigrant in the country when Trump was president before Biden and all the immigrants flowed in under him too. But they've got Biden derangement syndrome. They're literally out of their fucking minds. But they follow someone that's insane. Only an insane person would follow somebody who is in fact insane. Donald Trump has a mental problem. He has dementia probably. Alzheimer's, something. There's something, I mean, word salad, he forgets things. He puts, sentences together that shouldn't be together. The man's deranged. He has dementia, obviously. If not, he has something like dementia. So, you follow him, not me. You watched last night and think that's okay. You're deranged. You have something wrong in your brain. And I have the proof. See, you don't. I'm an American. I believe in the Constitution. That's our document. You don't. A seated president shouldn't be talking about what late night talk show hosts are talking about. Why? They have a First Amendment right to talk about it. Whether it's pro him or against him. He doesn't have a right to comment on them, to try to go after them, to get them off the air. That's against the First Amendment. That should bother you. Little thing called the Constitution. He shouldn't be forcing evangelical Christian values on America when the Constitution was set up to prohibit that very thing. Y'all want to use the Constitution when it benefits you. But when it's like the Bible. Christians always want to quote the Bible when it benefits them, but when you quote parts back to them that don't benefit them, well, then they tell you you're interpreting it wrong, or you don't know what you're talking about, or that's the Old Testament, or whatever. Charlie Kirk couldn't stand it. When you got in his face and had more knowledge about the Bible than he did, he hated it. He hated it. Because he was an insane hater. Didn't deserve to die. Certainly didn't deserve to be shot through the throat. I fully believe the Trump administration had something to do with that, but that's my own personal belief. But, he didn't deserve his ending, but he was certainly, did not like it when you challenged him on his Christian values. And so last night should be enough for impeachment. I mean, really, if we had a working Congress, if we had Republicans that actually believed in the country and actually believed in the Constitution, he'd be removed today. Violating federal law, the Supreme Court said no tariffs. They were illegal. He's going ahead with them anyway. Violating federal law should get you removed from office. So last night was horrible. I'm so glad I watched The Pit and the Glitter Ball Murders. Oh, such a good thing on HBO Max. These queens were insane, honey. Never cross a gay guy. I'm telling you, when queens go bad, they go bad. And he went bad. Stabbed the guy like 9 times. Oh, vicious queen. Oh yeah, but meth. It was meth. It was all drugs. Drugs are horrible. And Trump's on a ton of drugs. He pumps himself up with Adderall and stays awake all night long. He is not in his right frame of mind. He is altered. Either it's a drug altering him. Look, my sister just had a brain tumor taken out of her skull. I've watched how it has changed her. The brain works in weird ways. And I recognize this in Trump. His brain is short-circuited. He needs help. He needs a hospital. He needs nursing care. He should be put in a home. Truly.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast, driving you home or driving you crazy.
Now it's your time.
Someone in the chat room said, Trump 2028. Again, that means that person, what is his name? Blind helicopter pilot? That means he is not an American. If you type Trump 2020 or 2028, you're not an American because you are going against the very document that our founders made the president swear to protect and defend, the Constitution. It has not been amended. He cannot run for another term. And if you think he can or should, you're not American. Get out of my country. Get out. Get out. I am tired of being the one being told to go someplace else. Get the fuck out. If you think Donald Trump should be elected in 2028, A, he'll be dead because he's so sick. I don't see him lasting 3 more years. He's so sick. His legs are this big. The blood refuses to pump through his legs. He's demented. He's got all the signs of some sort of mental impairment. His hands are constantly bruised from IVs. The man is not well. He eats McDonald's, doesn't exercise, follows RFK Jr.'s diet. He's going to die. Heart attack, stroke, something. But second of all, it's against the Constitution of the United States, which means you are not an American. Only people that follow the Constitution are American. So if you type Trump 2028, all it shows to me is you are not an American. You should renounce your citizenship and get the fuck out. Go to Russia, go to wherever you want to go. Go somewhere else where you'll be happier. Go to Saudi Arabia where you'll enjoy Sharia law. Go to Iran and live under the Ayatollah who says how long he gets to be the Ayatollah. Go live under Kim Jong-un where he'll be president for life. But you come to my fucking country, you better obey that document. And that document says 2 terms. That's it. Either consecutive or apart. No more. That's it. So keep your Trump 2028 out of my chat room because this is America. And in America, we follow the Constitution of the United States. And if you don't, you're not an American. So I don't want you here. Go bother somebody else. Go listen to Ben Shapiro. He is not an American either. You know, we are about to go to war in Iran so Benjamin Netanyahu can get his rocks off. We are literally about to start a world war because Benjamin Netanyahu wants us to. We have a president that refuses to help Ukraine stop the war after 5 years when he said he would stop it in a day. And you want more of this? You're not American. You know, and that's really what we have to just start saying. If you support un-American policies, you're un-American. You're not un-American. Because in America, we adhere to the Constitution, not to a president and not to a party. We adhere to the rules of that document, period. That's it. When any president takes the pledge, all they say is, I swear to uphold, and protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Doesn't talk about the people, doesn't talk about it talks about the Constitution. And it's time we remember that. And if you don't adhere to the Constitution, then you're anti-American. And it's that simple. Which makes Trump the most anti-American president we have ever had. Look, he could have come out there last night and talked about things we agree on. We all agree that we need border security. There is not one person in the United States that thinks the borders should just be porous and anybody from anywhere should flow through. I don't think that. No Democrat I know thinks that. No one I know thinks that. Everybody thinks that if you want to come to America, you should take the legal path. Where we disagree is, that legal path is broken, and it makes it nearly impossible for anyone to come and adhere to the legal path. And so we need to fix immigration so people can come here legally. No one wants illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants. Nobody does.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
So there's so much he could have done about what we agree on. We agree that immigration is broken. It's been broken since 1776. In the Declaration of Independence, our founders, one of their big grievances with King George was the immigration system, that there wasn't one. Only they wanted more people to come, not less. And the king had no pathway for more people to come and populate the United States. And they wanted an immigration system that worked. So ever since we were founded 250 years ago, immigration has been broken. So yeah, we need to fix it finally. We have the technology to fix it. We have the will to fix it. We have the funds to fix it. Now, it's a big problem for every country. Ireland, the EU, they are all having immigration and immigrant issues. We are not alone. And we all need to figure out why. Why are so many people from so many different places trying to get to America, Canada, the EU, Ireland? What is making them leave El Salvador, Ecuador, Mexico? You know what? Why are they trying to come here? Let's try to figure that out and fix it so they don't want to flee to our countries. Also, we have the technology to now make visas that are digital, to make day worker cards where you can come across the border and work for 7 days in the fields and then go back. And if you don't, we can track you. I am all for making sure that every person here is documented in some way. I don't want drug dealers, rapists, and sexual predators. You know, the people that inhabit the Republican Party. I don't want them coming across the border. I don't. And I'm a woke gay vegan. But I do not want undesirables to just be able to come into the country. I want people that want to go through the process, and they do. Almost every person that crosses deserts or swims through rivers or spends 28 hours in the back of a van with no food or water or sunlight. I want those people to be able to have a legal path to citizenship. And yes, we do need an immigration enforcement department. We do. Now, whether that is ICE or another agency, we need people to be able to keep track of people who have come here, overstayed their visas, have not filed the proper paperwork. We need someone to enforce that. Fully agree. But legally, with warrants, with due process, because everyone in America has the same rights guaranteed under the Constitution. So without violating their rights, we need to make sure they are adhering to the law. And if that's ICE or the DHS or whoever it is, okay, great. We don't need to be going to Home Depot and tackling people and ripping families apart. That is what we need not do. So we agree that immigration needs reform. We agree. We agree that the world is filled with problems right now. Ukraine, Israel, Iran. We agree on that. What we don't agree on is how to solve it. I have said from the beginning, cut Israel off. Cut them off. On the Epstein files, I don't care if it's a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, or a Martian. If they're named in those files and they had sex with underage girls, I want them prosecuted. I don't care if it's Bill Clinton or Donald Trump. I don't care if it's Alan Dershowitz or whoever, a Kennedy. I don't care. If you're in the files, you had sex with underage girls, you engaged in sex trafficking, I want you prosecuted, not protected. I don't see how we can't all agree on that. How can we not all agree that any man in the Epstein files that had sex with underage girls or knew that it was going on should be prosecuted? How can that not be common ground? How? There is so much in this country that we agree upon. Why can't we act on that? Why do we have to divide everybody over things we won't agree upon? Now, there are not two sides to every issue. The LGBTQ issue, there's not two sides. Gay people deserve to be equal, protected. They deserve everything that non-gay people, including freedom from persecution from religion. Freedom from being refused someone cooking you a birthday cake or a wedding cake. Freedom from being fired from a job for being who you are or beaten. There's not two sides to that. There's not two sides to a woman's right to choose. Unless we regulate what men can do to their bodies in terms of vasectomies and other things, which we don't. Unless we regulate which men can get Viagra and which can't, which we don't, then we need to stay out of a woman's vagina when it comes to the government. There's not room in there for the White House. Unless you're, Melania. But, hey. So there's a lot in this country that we all agree upon. Maybe we disagree on how to get to the goal, but we agree on the problems. Why aren't we talking about that? Climate change is real. If you deny it, then you shouldn't have a voice because you're just stupid. This notion that there's two sides to every issue and every side should be heard. Nope. If it's a fact, if it's backed by research and science of hundreds of years, then no, there's not two sides. There's not two sides to climate change. It's happening. We're creating it. That includes fossil fuels and our diet. And we need to change those things. There's no argument there, or should be none. Because everybody benefits from that. Who gets harmed if we solve the climate crisis? Nobody. MAGA doesn't get harmed. Democrats don't get harmed. Everybody lives a better life. How could that be a partisan issue? Protecting the planet. Because Trump has made it such. And his followers just like outrage. They like to be angry for angry's sake. It's so ridiculous. It's why America kind of doesn't deserve to go on in its current state. If we can't realize that red and blue should not divide us, if we can't realize that you can be a conservative or a liberal and find middle ground like your mom and dad used to, then what are we doing here? We should break up. The blue states should become the alliance. The red states, let them keep the United States of America tag. And that's it. The blue states would be so much happier and richer. We support these assholes. Every red state takes $2 for every dollar they give to the federal government. These are broke assholes. And the very liberals that they hate are the ones supporting them. Maybe it's time that we don't. Let them die out. Let them starve like they want people to starve when they don't want to give them their SNAP benefits. If you're an American and you believe in the Constitution, then I'm on your side. Whatever you call yourself, conservative, MAGA, Democrat, whatever. If you're an American and you believe in the values of the Constitution, I'm on your side. We're on the same team, Team America. If you follow Donald Trump, I'm not on your side because he's not an American president. He does not value the Constitution. And that's the only document we should pay attention to. And so last night, all he did was embarrass himself and the country. And all the Republicans did last night was embarrass themselves and show that they're truly not American. Show that they're corporatist or fascist or evangelicals or whatever you want, whatever tag you want to put on them. They're not American. Because in America, we value the Constitution. Freedom of speech, freedom of and from religion, freedom of the press. What freedom of the press do we have? You know, Paramount wants to buy Warner Brothers, and so does Netflix. Neither should be able to buy them. Neither. Netflix shouldn't be able to buy them because their model for films does not. Warner Brothers is one of the biggest theatrical releasing companies there is. Movie theaters are a value. They're an asset. They're something that I enjoy, and so do millions of others. If Netflix buys Warner Brothers, there's a very real chance that many movies won't even make it into the theater. So Netflix should not buy Warner Brothers. If Paramount buys Warner Brothers, they become a right-leaning MAGA conglomerate because Paramount's gone down the shit tube. CBS News is no longer news. They are the Fox News. Barry Weiss is horrible. 60 Minutes is about to end. Anderson Cooper already left it. The network of Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite is now a piece of shit network. Because Larry Ellison and his son David, who are Trump supporters, took it over. They should not be able to take over Warner Brothers. So neither Netflix nor Paramount should be able to buy Warner Brothers. Period. It should go to somebody else. And Warner shouldn't sell to either of them. Sell it to Disney. Sell it to the BBC. Sell it to somebody, but not Netflix or Paramount. You know, it's just, I look around at this country and I think it's not brain surgery, which I just went through with my sister. So believe me, I know what that is. And the problems are pretty simple to solve. The problem is that Republicans and Trump can't profit off the solutions. So therefore, they don't want them. If they can't make money, see, they make money off the division and MAGA's too stupid to know it. But then again, so do the Democrats. Last night during the State of the Union, I got like 100 text messages that I did not want saying, oh, before the end of the State of the Union, help Democrats win in this state or that state. Send $5, send $10, send $20. I'm all, fuck you, Democrats. There are billionaire Democrats. They need to step up to the table like Elon Musk did for the Republicans. Stop asking me for $5 or $10 or $20 when gas is higher priced and a melon is $7. I got to go buy cantaloupe. I can't give you $10. And quit interrupting my night with the Glitterball murders and the pit with these text messages asking me for money because Trump's on TV embarrassing us. And how about you do something about him being on TV embarrassing us? So both sides do it. I think the Democrats leave Trump alone and let him do all his stuff so they have stuff to campaign against. I mean, he's great for campaigning. His egregiousness is so vast that, so they both do it. Both sides profit while the country flounders. Look, some of the Democrats I'm not for either. That's why I'm a registered independent. Nancy Pelosi should have gone home long before her first facelift. Chuck Schumer should leave. There's many Democrats in Congress that I think get out. They're career politicians. They're not willing to fight the fight the way they need to fight it. We need younger people like Mendami, like AOC. That's who we need. We don't need Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries trying to be a peacemaker. We don't need that. We don't need Cory Booker up there for 36 hours to no avail. We need people who can get stuff done, like Gavin Newsom. Look, I'm not happy with Gavin about everything, and we're friends. We still have fights about his gay support, This last week, him saying that Democrats shouldn't focus on those kinds of issues if they want to win. Yeah, sure, throw us under the bus. That bothers me. But we're friends. We can talk about it. We can disagree. We can argue. Doesn't mean I hate him. Doesn't mean I wouldn't vote for him. Just means I don't like that he's doing that. I hope he changes. So what a mess. What a mess. So yeah, okay. So what's going on in the chat room at youtube.com/Really Karel? Whatever. Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Let MAGA come and troll. Let my listeners deal with them. I don't deal with them. I've never dealt with haters. You know what? Let them hate. Haters gonna hate. Taylor Swift said it best. They hate her too. Because she's a strong Democrat supporter, so they hate her. But she's a billionaire. So we are back, and we are, really just, it makes me think with today in 1870, when the first African-American was sworn into the Senate as a Republican, how that party has changed, The Guardian, jobs, gas prices, and ending wars, fact-checking Trump's rambling State of the Union claims. That's The Guardian. The New York Times, how did Trump's State of the Union play? Like a broken record. Trump dismisses affordability concerns in State of the Union and tries to blame Democrats for his administration. That's Axios. There's not, outside of probably Fox News and CBS, nobody is, NPR has an annotated fact check of President Trump's State of the Union, where he lied or exaggerated everything. Wound up and weird. Rachel Maddow's instant so too reaction. Trump attempted poetry in his State of the Union. Instead, we got a salesman's tired patter. That's Esquire. I went to Trump's State of the Union. There was a moment when the room's mood shifted. Yep. Why I'm not watching the State of the Union, and you shouldn't either, by Robert Reich. I didn't. Yeah. Rambling man. State of the Union. Trump's chance to turn things around goes from bad to worse. The Atlantic. The Politico, which Politico is often conservative. Spin of the Union, they called it. Not State of the Union, but spin of the Union. Donald Trump's unworthy State of the Union, The Economist. Wow. I mean, there's just not a pleasant headline about it at all. Donald Trump's State of the Union was long and wrong, The New Yorker. Trump uses longest ever State of the Union to try to convince voters that the U.S. is winning and we are in the golden age of America. He's wrong. AP News. Trump's State of the Union was a bloated award show. New York Magazine. Wow. State of the Union offers Trump a chance to make the case for his foreign policy approach. He didn't. There is just not even Fox, live now from Fox. Trump delivers record-breaking State of the Union and declares the golden age in a flop speech. That's Fox. A look at President Trump's false and misleading claims. The Chicago Tribune. Trump makes fun of Chinese military tech in State of the Union, but it surpasses America's. That's the South China Morning Post. Wow. Donald Trump's State of the Union speech was bad. The actual state of our union is worse. The Daily Beast. Wow. I mean, there's nothing positive being said about this. Nothing. Nothing. And the sad part is, I don't want any president to fail. You all will not believe this, but I don't want Donald Trump to fail. I would like Donald Trump to succeed, just not in the agenda that he has set out. I want any president, George W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, I want them to succeed, because if they succeed, America succeeds. I want them to help all Americans live a better life. That's what I want a president to do. I want them to be peacemakers throughout the world and try to maintain, Bill Clinton was the only president that didn't have a war of recent times. I want presidents to win. I don't want Donald Trump to fail. If Donald Trump fails, America fails. I just don't want him to win at the agenda he has set out. I want him to win on behalf of all the American people. Make sure everybody's fed. Make sure everybody is housed. Make sure that we're not using energy that's going to kill us. I want peace, unity. I don't want division and hatred. Who wants that? Who wants a country divided and hateful? I don't. I don't think any Democrat does. Maybe some because it's good for campaigning, but I don't want that. I want us all to feel like we're all a part of the same thing, and that the success of that things mean that we all win. That's what I want. I don't want to win for gay people. I want to win for all people. I want us all to face the problems that we have and solve them, like immigration, which is a problem. Healthcare, big problem. Cost of living, big problem. I would like the federal government to tackle the big problems and solve them and win. So I don't want him to fail. I'd like him to succeed on behalf of the American people, but he doesn't represent all the American people, as he made clear last night. He has no desire to represent Democrats or liberals. None. They're the enemy to him. Well, that's not the way to win. That's not the way to launch a golden era. I don't want ICE killing people on our streets. I want them actually protecting our borders. It's not hard to want America to win. We all do. Everybody in America wants America to succeed. The question is, succeed at what? They're dictators. They're fascist. They don't want the common people to win. I do. I want no one to be hungry, no one to be homeless. I want no one to be discriminated against. I want everyone, including rich people, to have to follow the rule of law. I want the Constitution to be the law of the land, protected and defended. I want conservatives and liberals to find common ground and legislate, do their jobs that they're paid for. I don't want them to spend their entire time getting paid to fight. Unite. Do something productive. Wishful thinking. I am Karel. Be who you want to be, so don't hurt anybody. We'll be back tomorrow for our final show of the week. Hope you have a great afternoon. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Until there's no other choice.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast, driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here.